Okay, guys, last in the Here's back, reading from Mandigo and the Hellhounds, and you can find links to the earlier chapters on Twitch. Okay, Mandigo and Hellhounds, chapter 14. Mandigo woke up with a start. For a split second, he was completely confused and disoriented. It was cold and totally dark around him, and very quiet. But then, suddenly, he remembered everything and sat up in bed. Something or other had woken him, but he wasn't sure what it was. It was as though someone had touched him, but there was no presence, as far as he could see or sense, other than himself. His heart began to beat wildly. He had a strange feeling of floating in vast empty space where someone or something was watching him. Suddenly, he saw something move in the darkness. At first, it was very hazy, mostly like a dim mist or cloud that gradually grew larger and larger. All at once the fog took the form of a figure, and Mandigo felt his blood rush through his veins. It was a woman. Her features were unclear. It was impossible for Mandigo to tell whether she was old or young. It was as though she kept changing between being a beautiful girl and a haggard old woman. Her clothes consisted of grey-white robes that waved like clouds passing over rugged mountain tops. Her hair was a dishevelled, seaweed-like mass that had a pearl-like glow to it, and her oval face was lit by the cold light of the moon. But the scariest thing about her was her eyes. They were just dark, slanting cavities that stared at Mandigo with a petrifying gaze. "Flee! Flee!" she said with a voice that sounded like a whisper coming from the opposite end of a tunnel. Mandigo's mouth was as dry as sandpaper, and he could feel the little hairs on his arms and legs stand on end in fear. Who are you?" he managed to stammer as he stared at the ghost with the empty eye sockets. "Flee! Flee!" the ghost-like figure repeated. Her voice took on a deeply pleading sound, and she reached out with her milky white arms towards Mandigo in an imploring gesture. "You must not stay at Bloodstone. Do you hear me? It's a center of dark forces. It will suck all the life force out of you, until all that is left is your shadow." Mandigo felt his heart jump. "Is Montero going to kill me?" he asked fearfully, as he pulled his blanket further up towards his head. The ghost shook her head. "No, not Montero. The other one. He wants to use you." Mandigo frowned in surprise. It gradually became clear to him that this was a ghost. Whoever she was not out to do him any harm. On the contrary, she seemed to want to warn him of a hidden threat or some sort. "The other? Who are you talking about?" he whispered. "I can't tell you anything else," the ghost answered. "I've already said too much." The figure grew dimmer, almost like a fog bank that is slowly burned away by the sun. But all at once she returned, sticking her head almost right up to Mandigo's face, and he fell backwards in shock. "The tapestries!" the ghost said emphatically. "Look at the tapestries in the keep!" And then she was gone.
No, don't stop it.
Okay.
Now we'll start talking about it.
Yeah.
So, here we are going to talk about what this episode was.
Yeah.
So, the last time we was told a bit about the castle having some schools.
Yes.
He met another guy.
Yeah.
And he was seeing some of the castle.
Yes. Castle Bloodstone belongs to his uncle Montero.
Okay.
And this is a very isolated castle in the middle of a mountain range.
Yeah.
Far from civilization of any sort. And this has his uncle tells Mandigo that the castle functions as a school for magicians.
Yeah.
And Mandigo meets this young guy, Casper, boy around his own age. That means 12, 13 years old, or something like that. And they fast become friends.
Okay.
And now we are in the dormitory of the boy children of this at this school, and in the middle of the night, Mandigo gets a visitation from this ghost-like figure.
Okay. But we never heard about this ghost before.
No.
And
This ghost is a new entity in the story.
okay. So the question is, will it come more, or is it now banished?
That's one of the big questions.
Yeah, that's gonna be something we maybe can answer later.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something we didn't expect.
Hopefully not. That should be a big surprise for any readers of the books, of course.
So now he got told to get the fuck out.
Yes. Exactly.
And he seems to not fathom what's going on.
Well, he's a state of shock.
Yeah.
And also confused, of course, because he's warned of someone who's going to use him
Yeah.
and drain him of his life force, and there's a reference to the other.
Yeah.
So who is the other, if not his uncle?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So here we're gonna end for this episode.
Yeah.
So let's end it.
That's it.